James Howlett was born to wealthy John and Elizabeth Howlett in Alberta, Canada during the last years of the 19th century. As a child, he was frail and unhealthy due to his overreactive mutant immune system and was neglected by his mother, who had been institutionalized following the death of her first son, John Jr., in 1897. James' mutant abilities were triggered when his father was shot by the Howlett's groundskeeper, Thomas Logan, whom he did not know was his real father. James killed Logan, slashed the face of Logan's son and his friend dog, and left Alberta with a childhood friend, Rose O'Hara. He and Rose found refuge at a British Columbia stone quarry where Rose, claiming James was her cousin, gave him his name as Logan. Within months, Logan's powers were heightening due to the environment around him. He became healthier and gained senses to rival those of an animal, but also became more violent. To divert some of this pent-up rage, Logan partook in cage fights where his prowess earned him the nickname Wolverine. After accidentally killing Rose with his claws, Logan retreated into the woods where he lived as a feral beast, losing all of his former memories. He would later re-enter society and travel the world, partaking in every major conflict of the 20th century: World War I, World War II, the Spanish Civil War, the Vietnam War, as a soldier, criminal, or mercenary for hire. This caused him to coin the phrase, "I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice." Wolverine's rapid regeneration powers allow him to bounce back from almost every type of bodily wound on the condition that his head remains firmly attached to his shoulders. Nevertheless, the time of each healing is understandably proportionate to the severity of the injury. His body is also immune to most poisons, drugs, and diseases. His agility, reflexes, and senses are similarly enhanced. Wolverine sees and hears things at distance far greater than those of ordinary humans. His sense of smell is even more magnified, and he can recognize people and objects by scent alone, which combined with combat and stealth training makes him one of the world's foremost trackers. The most iconic of his natural weapons are 6 retractable, slightly curved, foot-long bone claws, 3 in each arm beneath the skin and muscle of his forearms. He can at will release these claws through the skin beneath his knuckles. The claws are naturally sharp and tougher than normal human bone, allowing them to penetrate most types of flesh and natural materials. To top things off, Wolverine is trained in hand-to-hand combat, computer systems, vehicles, weapons, and is fluent in Cheyenne, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Lakota, Russian, and Spanish, with some French, Thai, and Vietnamese. While on the run from the law, he was abducted by the Canadian super soldier program known as Weapon X. He had previously been a willing participant in the program in the early 1960s as an international operative of Team X. Logan was a prime candidate for this new iteration of Weapon X due to his incredibly fast healing abilities and endurance, which allowed Dr. Cornelius and his team to fuse adamantium to his skeleton. This adds an extra 105 pounds to his frame, or 47.6 kilograms in Mr. Howlett's native metric system. Immediately after this procedure, his healing factor was slowed so that it might take weeks to recover from multiple wounds, but eventually the factor returned to full strength and speed. The adamantium renders his bones virtually unbreakable and his claws capable of penetrating almost any substance depending on its thickness and the force he exerts. His reinforced skeleton also enables him to withstand heavy physical pressure, giving his muscles sufficient force to briefly lift 800 pounds or more. The experiment was successful and gave Logan more control over his berserker nature, but also wiped him of any residual memories he had lingering in his head. His real sense of belonging would not arrive until he joined the X-Men. For all his brooding nature and solitary preferences, Wolverine is a big softie, not literally, but figuratively, because every bone in his body is covered in unbreakable material. Logan is a very good guy, willing to stick his invincible neck out for those in desperate need of help. Over the years, he has become a mentor or father figure to characters like Kitty Pryde and Jubilee. Both members of the X-Men got their own storyline with Logan and learned much while at his side. The guy has been around the block and has picked up an important lesson or two to pass on to the younger generations.